Davis, how's it going?
Right.
All right. Yes. Before I say anything, I just have to give y'all props for making me feel welcome. That I'm a very shy person. It is not easy for me to feel welcome this early. Yes, y'all are good at helping people to feel like members of your community, which I am. So thank you. Hmm. Check the vibe, huh? What a title. On my way to picking up my son this morning, I was riding in my wife's car. She has the fancy car with the fancy XM radio in it, which is why I love riding her car instead of mine. And what's awesome about XM radio is it's an uncensored radio station. So, you hear language you might not have heard on regular radio. You definitely hear songs you wouldn't have heard. And so as I'm driving to my son, a song from an MC who has crossed over into being an ancestor very recently by the name of Biz Markie. His song, The Vapors, was playing. Now, for those who aren't familiar with this song, The Vapors, it's about someone who was overlooked by another individual. And that person who was overlooked ended up doing well in life. And the person who overlooked them now feels a little salty, feels a little way about the fact that, wow, I was not very nice to this person. And now this person is doing well in life. And I thought about the beginning of the song. It's my favorite part. Can you feel it? Nothing can save you, because this is the season for catching the vapors. Now, of course, I don't have a New York accent, but it rhymes a lot better with the New York accent. Nothing can save you. This is the sealer, the vapors, Gonna go get the papers, that East Coast. What I've learned about this thing we call happiness is that it is much more than a feeling. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. See, when I say check the vibe, it helps me to remember that much like the vapors, the vibe is always present. The vibe is always there for us to tap into. However, here's how abundant God is. We get to choose which vibe, which frequency, which station we decide to tune into. There are plenty of times. I'm so glad my children aren't listening right now because they would use this against me. Plenty of times where in this very home that I sit and speak to you from right now, that the vibe is amazing. That these beautiful children of mine have created such a beautiful, pure, innocent vibe in the home. But instead of me tapping into that vibe, I'd rather be upset about things, upset about payments I need to make, upset about that person at my job who gets on my nerves and asks me too many questions, upset about the traffic on the way back to this beautiful home where my beautiful children live. I decide to tap into the different channels instead of the one I'm searching for. My mother, well, my mother's side of the family, we are one of very few families, African-American families who actually know the African country and tribe that they come from. And so my great grandmother on my mother's side kept track of who we are through slavery and everything. And we had come to the conclusion that we are Ghanaian. And so a while ago, actually 20 years ago, my family and East Bay Church of Religious Science all went and had a trip to Ghana. I didn't go. Still a little salty about that, but we'll move on. And my mother, when she came back, told me how people in Africa, for no reason, will just dance anywhere in the middle of the street, at the supermarket, wherever you feel like it. And here's the beautiful thing. People who don't even know that person will stand next to them and join in. See, they have an understanding. But we all, as humans, have this understanding that happiness is contagious. You can see somebody laughing hysterically and you don't even know what they're laughing at, and it makes you want to laugh. How many times have we gotten in trouble like that where you're not supposed to be laughing, your friend snickers and then you laughing? Yes, it's contagious. That's why. That's how much God loves us. God wants us to feel that contagiousness of God. I don't care if contagiousness isn't a word. Y'all get what I'm saying. What am I tapping into? Am I checking the vibe? Am I allowing the vibe to consume my life, or am I paying attention to something else? Now, see, I love talking about the something else because once we're aware of it, we can then be conscious of it. I love the affirmation, the song, excuse me, where we talked about how we expect to be blessed. See, that's what got me, y'all. I'm telling you right there. That one, I was like, all right, I already like this center, but I expect to be blessed. Okay, hold on. These people know some things I need to be telling myself. Expecting to be blessed? Let's just talk about how beautiful God is. They did this study, this video, where it showed different things that go on in this place we call the universe. Showed how a star blowing up looks much like our pupil dilating, and shows how when different things are moving through the universe, how it looks like our thoughts in our brain. It showed how all of these things look like the very activities that go in this beautiful body in which you are resting in right now. There is no separation. There is none. However, if I'm trying to sell you something, I don't need you knowing that. It does not do me any good as a salesperson, as a corporation who is trying to get in your pockets and get into your mind. I don't need you knowing about your connection with God. I need you thinking differently. I don't want you going inward. I need you to go outward. See, you have every reason right now to expect to be blessed because you indeed are the blessing. However, if I get you to forget that, I can then take advantage of it. See, oh no, you're not a blessing yet. You got to have this fancy car. Oh, no. I know you think you're a blessing, but you need this degree first to be a blessing. And it has to be from this school that's way too expensive in the first place. Oh, you want to be blessed. You want to be a blessing. Okay, well, you got to get a title by your name. I mean, how can you be a blessing without a title by your name? I would love to lie to you and act like I haven't fallen into this trap. I mean, you just heard my bio, right? I was raised in the science of mind. Oh, not me, right? Please. I got a closet full of Jordans that I don't even wear to prove it. Yes, I too have been a part of this consciousness, which is why I can tell all of us right now, as long as we search outward for our happiness, we will never be happy. Never, 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 never. I'm often jealous of those who come to Science of Mind from another philosophy, because y'all always have this awesome story. It's almost like a fantasy, Lord of the Rings type of fantasy, where finally you found the calling and you went through the dark, deep forest and you slayed the dragon and finally you got the. I am so jealous of that story. See, nothing's stopping you. You already have done enough things to know this is it. Me, I've always been here. So oftentimes I take this philosophy for granted. As long as we search outward for our happiness, we will not be happy. I learned this when I went to college at Knoxville College in Tennessee. Shout out Bulldogs, small Black college right there next to UT. And I observed how the guy who cleaned our dorms was always in a great mood, always joking with us, always making it his duty to make the rest of these young men on this campus smile and be happy. His car was not really fancy at all. I mean, please, anytime I ever saw him, he was in his coveralls. He was never in anything fancy, but the man had this huge, amazing heart. Then there was a member of our faculty. She had every degree you could think of, was always draped in Armani and whatever, and smelling like the most expensive fragrances out there. This woman never, ever smiled as long as I was there. Now, how is it she has all the bells and whistles that all of us are told we're supposed to want, but yet I never see a smile? See, that was the first time God showed it to me. You can have all of that, but happiness is simply a decision. Happiness is a file in the brain that we can open up whenever we want. That's all it is. Am I checking the vibe? Or am I tapping into the race consciousness that says that you cannot be happy until you go buy something first? We're all nodding our heads. But yet all these holidays that come up to tell us we need to buy something to show our love, we all fall for it, don't we? I'm over here confessing to y'all. This isn't a sermon. I fooled you all. This is me just confessing my life. We all do it. Fridge full of food, kids eating good. And because I did not buy my son that brand new game that isn't even that new, he hasn't even beat the last game he had, I feel like I'm a terrible parent. What? A terrible parent because you didn't get your son a video game? Are we serious? Tap into the vibe, check the vibe. What is the vibe telling you? Right where you sit, you are the blessing. All we have to do is decide to be a blessing. All hail the comedians of the world. We don't give comedians enough credit. We do not. We love reverends. We love motivational speakers. We love all these spiritual mystics and all. We don't give comedians enough credit. A comedian's job is to take the most painful experience and make us laugh from it. That's why there's no mystery as to why every comedian we like, if they're good, has had a hard life. Only the funny ones have had a hard life. You know, the ones, but the funny ones have went through things that are not funny. We know Richard Pryor's life. Yeah. See all the smiling on the chat just stopped? We all know that man's story. It's not funny, but he was. When we say God is all there is, what are we really saying? Now, us Bay Area people know that when the sun is shining the way it is right now in the Bay Area, it's only shining that much brighter in the Sacramento area. So it's easy for Davis to agree that God is all there is because look at the sun y'all have right now. But when that other season comes and it's not so shiny outside, when there's rain everywhere and mud and sludge and you gotta travel and commute in that, can we still keep up that same energy? I mean, that's God too, isn't it? What if we weren't here just to have fun? What if this entire experience is about growth? What if it's about that? Well, if it's about growth and we know it takes both sunshine and rain to make a flower grow, then that means that rain is God too. I think about when my grandfather passed. And my mother called because, my grandfather just passed and this is her daddy. And as she called, and I can tell my mother was crying, all she kept doing was talking about things she was thankful for. The first thing she said on the phone was, "I love you so much, son." Then she started talking about how she loves her family and just kept on naming these things she loved. What if we give thanks while we grieve? Because we know it is only for the greater good of our being. What if we did that? Now, I'm sure it's most of your congregation, this person I'm about to talk about, but we all have those people in our lives who are lucky, right? We know lucky people. I'm sure that's most of this congregation I'm talking to because I've gotten to know a lot of you since this morning. And those kind of people, to be honest, really bug me because, dang it, why are you so lucky all the time? I'm realizing that even luck is consciousness. It's a decision. It's deciding to be lucky. It's waking up in the morning and saying, I expect to be blessed. Before I even finish my point, I also just want to put a challenge out there. I dare any of us, and me included, let's for the rest of the year, no, forget that. Let's do for the whole summer. Let's start our morning saying, I expect to be blessed, and repeat that mantra. I dare any of us to say it and have the same reaction we've been having in our lives. I bet we can't. I bet we'll see something different. And that's the same thing with lucky people. They are deciding they are blessed. Once we remember that we indeed are the blessing, the universe only says yes and shows us more of what we said. That's why I love that quote from Abraham Hicks. Everything is a prayer. We know that. Every thought, every emotion, every word even not said, all of that is an affirmation, and the universe only says yes. So if I'm sitting there saying, this is whack, I can't stand this person gets on my nerve, oh, I'm so terrible, the universe is only going to show me more of that. The moment I decide to think something different, I see something different. This is something I do not like being reminded of whenever I'm in my own funk. I do not like being reminded of it. But I'm telling you all because I need to be reminded of it. If any of you remind me, I promise you, I am not going to like it at all. I'll probably snap at you, and then I'm going to love you for it. Medicine isn't supposed to taste good anyway. So I'm thanking you in advance for my medicine. We are the blessing that we're waiting on. We are. And the moment we decide to be that, God shows us that we're the blessing. I once heard a wealthy person say that much of wealth is just appreciating what we have anyway. And that hit me like, well, if I appreciate what I have, there's no need to spend more money. And if I don't spend more money, then I have more money, which makes it easier for me to save. Oh, that's why you can invest so much all the time. I get it now. That's what rich people do. They're thankful for what they have first. Now, with this thing called happiness, because so many of us Americans are taught to search for happiness outside of ourselves, we also come across this other feeling called jealousy. And jealousy is an interesting thing because we all have it. We just don't like admitting we have it. Oh, me? We jealous? No, I'm not jealous. Please. I ain't never. This is me talking. I love telling people I don't have a jealous bone in my body. Stop it, please. Matter of fact, I used to be jealous of y'all because you had a winning basketball team before we did. I was so jealous of the Kings winning all these games. I got to look at my terrible Warriors. Now I get to act like I was never jealous of y'all. All jealousy really is looking at someone else's life and deciding it's better than yours and then being angry about it. Cat Williams said it best when he said, that does not look like a Bentley. It looks like a Chrysler 300. Then he said, okay, let me back up. It does look like a Bentley until a Bentley pulls up next to it. And then you get mad, don't you? And you pull off the street and say, I don't even want to be over here right now. But why? You were loving that car until that other car showed up. What happened? What's different? Loving your life, and then something else happens and we decide we get to be jealous. Why? Do we even know if that person is even happy? With a Bentley comes a Bentley car payment and Bentley maintenance. I mean, are you really that jealous? Check the vibe. What is the vibe telling you? Right now in this moment, all the happiness, all the abundance, all the health, all the wealth, all the love of the universe is right where you sit. Are we taking the time to acknowledge it? It's speaking to us right now. Hey, over here. Hey, I know you're worried about what's going on all around the world. I know you're trying to solve the world's problems. I know you're trying to buy a Bentley, but I want to be in your life. Hey, And what do? I say, not right now. I'm too busy worrying about things I shouldn't be worried about. Expect to be blessed. Ooh, I love y'all for that. Yes, expect to be blessed. You are a miracle. Literally, you're a miracle right now. I think that when we realize our greatness, it's overwhelming. That's the one thing about God. God is so overwhelming that when we realize that that's us, it becomes frightening. Now, I am speaking for you right now. This is really me I should be speaking about, but I'm just willing to assume that all of us have had that experience where we realize our own greatness and it frightens us. That's why we have drama, because drama distracts us from our own greatness. See, I could be working on me. I could be working on my own life, my own calling, my own purpose, but I'm afraid. So I spend time analyzing everyone else's life instead because it's a distraction. That's why I don't get mad at the miserable person. I used to get mad at that person. But that person is only showing me how I act in other ways in my life. Talking about one person in my life in particularly, I am not mad at you. I get the lesson, Spirit. I'm seeing it now. You are so great, so amazing, so magnificent that it frightens you. And instead of dealing with that, it is so much easier to criticize others. I've done it. That's what celebrities are there for, right? Oh, I can't believe he just did that on the Oscars and blah, blah, blah. Why are we even talking about that? Happy people don't talk about other people like that. They just don't. They're too busy being happy. Too busy seeing reasons for other people to be happy, too being positive and walking up and saying positive things. And oh, it gets on our nerves, but look at their life though. Who's willing to check the vibe? Who's willing to take a moment and say, even this is God, and I'm thankful for it. I don't understand it, Spirit. I don't understand what the blessing is, but I trust you. So therefore, that's what this is. Who can do that? Who's willing? I'm asking because I'm not always courageous enough to do it, but I know it's the truth. What I really love about the Bible is how we get to look at it from a metaphysical point of view. And I didn't grow up with the Bible. I grew up science of mind. So I'm studying it a lot now because I'm in ministerial school. And the part about the golden cow was just so awesome. Because at first I thought that Moses was angry because they were praising a false god, and they are, but then I saw the metaphor in it. What is the golden cow really? It's anything outside ourselves. We are searching for salvation. Anything. I'm not saying don't get a degree. I'm not saying don't get a Bentley. I'm not saying don't do any of those things. I'm saying that when we think it is the answer to our happiness, we are chasing the golden cow. You are the blessing of your life, and do not forget it. You are. And it is our obligation, not our birthright, to be happy. It is our obligation because our life is not just our life. All of you are beautiful. I'm looking at all of you, which means you have people that love you and who are watching you, which means that it is your obligation to show that person how easy it is to be happy. It's your obligation. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Whatever you are mad at, you get to put that down right now and enjoy your life. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing because I like to hold on to the things I'm mad at too. I'm still mad at Tom Brady for that fumble he did in the beginning of his career. He don't even play for that team anymore. I'm still mad at him. Do you see how petty I am? He hasn't even played for that team. He's gotten a ring with another team, and I'm still mad at him. Everyone else is enjoying his success, letting it influence them to do great things in life. And I'm sitting here with my arms folded like, nope, it was a fumble though, but it was a fumble. Check the vibe. We all have to have those simple things we do to make us happy. Now, I'm a brother from this place we call the hood, so I'm always going to put a haircut number one on that list for myself. I'm going to just be honest. There is nothing that can happen in life where a fresh fade will not make me happy. Sorry. I had to tell that to my homeboys the other day. It was like, would you cry if something happened to me? I'd be like, as long as the barbershop is open, homie, I might be all right. Sorry. Number 2, you have to have a dark sense of humor. You do. I grew up watching Full House as well. Shout out to Bob Saget. We miss you. But we all know what his real sense of humor was like when he wasn't on Full House. We need to have a dark sense of humor because there are dark times in life. And all a dark sense of humor means is that we can see the happiness even in that moment. Damon Wayans talked about a time where he ran home from a bully. This bully would always terrorize him. And he ran into the house and he was hiding and he was crying, literally crying, because this bully used to terrorize him so badly. And there was nothing left to do but to turn on the TV. And he turns on the TV, and right when he turns it on, there's a comedian on TV talking about hiding from a bully. And he said while he was crying, he was laughing too, because it felt comforting to know someone else had been through what he was dealing with right then. I know what it's like to hide from a bully. I know that terror, where just the mention of that person's name, your heart starts beating faster. And the comedian was able to heal him in that moment. And number 3 for me is a quiet meditative walk. You give me a comfortable pair of shoes and some music, and I can get over any problem. Just let me walk. These are simple things we can do to remember the blessing we are. One more thing about misery, because we all experience it. Is it just me, or when we have this feeling of misery, we want to give it away as quickly as possible? Right? Am I the only one? If I'm feeling miserable, I don't want to just be feeling miserable by myself. That's no fun. We all do it, which means that we all have to be conscious that when someone is miserable, they're going to invite you to the party, and you don't have to join the party. Here's one time in my life where I did not know that I was being invited to the party. I was on my way. I'm a young man at this time, think about 19. And I'm on my way to San Francisco to shop. So I'm in a great mood because I got, I just cashed my check, about to buy myself some sneakers and whatever else I want. I'm in a great mood. But I still don't know which bus is because I'm learning, right? So I walk up to the bus driver, who was obviously on his break and did not want to be bothered. And I tapped on his door and I said, "Excuse me, sir." And he, "What do you want, man?" Not even looking at me. Like, I'm over here. Said, "Oh, well, that's kind of rude, but hey, could you tell me how to get to?" "No, I don't know, man. Leave me alone." Okay, well, that was really rude for no reason. So I asked him a question about his behavior, which wasn't as godly as we're feeling now. I'll just tell you, the question was also equally as rude. And he turned around and made a gesture at me. And I'm sure we all know, we all have imagination. So you know what that gesture meant. Well, guess what? That was his invitation. And I took the invitation. I'm yelling at him. And I realized the more I was yelling and stinging snot and foaming at the mouth and banging on his door, he was smiling because we just traded days. I was in a great mood. And we literally just traded days. And I know we traded days because I saw him a few hours later driving his bus and he was smiling from ear to ear. He was not smiling like that until he had that argument with me. When we are invited into the misery, we get to say, "No, thank you." We get to say, "Listen, I see you in that mud. And I too wish you were not in that mud, but I'm not getting in it with you. I can stand here and show you how to get out. I can instruct you how I got out, but I am not getting in the mud with you." Let's remember to check the vibe. Let's remember to expect blessings in our lives. And let's always ask ourselves, which frequency have I tuned into? Davis, thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for inviting me into your community in which I too am a member of now. I love you and I thank you. And now we pray. There is one life, one mind, one consciousness, one breath, one everything. It is known by many names, and right now I'm calling it God. It is my life. It is everyone on the Zoom call, everyone at this service, everyone outside this service. It is just abundance. And I, Luchan Baker, am declaring in this life that there is divine happiness, that it consumes us so much that it allows everyone around us to search their own happiness inward. And we allow it to spread like fire. We are the blessing. I bless the service. I bless every treatment and every prayer request, knowing they are getting in good hands, because we have prayer warriors here at CSL Davis that say, yes, God, we will go. I'll be the light. You know, the only way for light to stand out is in darkness anyway. So if we're going through something tough, we've been called for something great. Yes, Spirit, I'll go. I'll go because all I see is God. Regardless of appearances, regardless of experiences, God is the only power in my life. And so I'm giving thanks in advance for this happiness, for this vibe, for this blessing, for this consciousness. I am giving thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, universe. And I allow it to be, knowing the answer is always yes. I place it in the hands of the universe where the answer is always yes. Free of doubt, free of worry, free of concern, I give it to God and I let it be. If this is true for you like it is for me, please join me in saying Amen, Ashe.